Welcome to Fireside Giants. My name is Alex with my co-host here, Anthony Rivardo. Guys, we got a big game coming up on Sunday. Giants going to Dallas to try and take down this really good Cowboys team. I know people don't want to hear that, but they actually are a really solid team. Their turnover rate has been phenomenal this year so far. Their cornerback youngster, Trayvon Diggs, has been an absolute menace. He had 2 interceptions last week. He's had a couple pick sixes this year already. He's looking like one of the best young corners in the game. Their defense is taking steps forward. Their offense is high octane. It's going to be really hard to stop them. We want to take a look at how the Giants can overcome this team. What do they need to do to put Dallas in their place to make sure that Dallas doesn't run all over them? Of course, being in Arlington makes it that much more difficult with home field advantage. But I posted a couple stats today regarding Daniel Jones in away games. He's far better playing away than he is at home, which is a really interesting reality for a quarterback. Usually you'd think, having the home base behind them, would be a good thing. But essentially, he plays better away, and I think he's a road warrior. So this might actually benefit him going to Dallas, especially being in a dome. Where they can, not have to worry about that wind factor and whatnot, which affected them against the Falcons, Anthony. But with Dallas ahead, how you doing today, my friend? And what are you thinking of this really big challenge this upcoming weekend?
I'm doing good. I'm obviously a little concerned. I'm really excited, coming off of the win on Sunday. The Giants played a great game, but I'm a little concerned that we have this momentum now. It's building, but it might be a little late. I wish that this would have happened week 1 or 2. We got that win, got this momentum because now we're in the tough period of the schedule. We're in the tough stretch. We got Dallas this week and the Rams, I believe, the week after. Some tough games on the schedule. The Rams, I know they just lost their first game, but they are a very good football team. The Cowboys, very good football team. These are going to be a couple of tough matchups for the Giants. But listen, if they play like they played on Sunday, they have a chance. They're going to be in these games as long as Daniel Jones is playing as well as he has been playing. He looked like a menace on Sunday, played a phenomenal performance. And if he wants to beat Dallas on Sunday, which I know he does, he's going to have to back up last week's performance with another performance just like that. In my opinion, it's Daniel Jones versus the world right now. It's Daniel Jones versus the Dallas Cowboys. It's Daniel Jones versus the Rams. It's Daniel Jones versus everybody. It's really not as much of the Giants versus everybody. To me, it's just solely up to Daniel Jones. If he can continue to play the way that he's played the past 3 weeks, the Giants are going to be in every game, and they've got a really damn good chance of winning every game, which is super exciting. That's franchise quarterback material right there. Pretty sure that's what we're going to be discussing throughout this video, Daniel Jones, and whether or not he is that franchise guy. He's starting to look like it, and it's really exciting to me, to all Giants fans, and hopefully he can back up last week's performance with another big one on Sunday, and we can get a divisional win against the Cowboys.
Yeah, and you know what? Daniel Jones looking like a franchise quarterback. We need to see more consistency. And it's not just him, right? I think that Jason Garrett last week and Dan Orlovsky hit on this today. He posted a nice little video kind of saying the connect that Garrett and Daniel Jones had, which is essential for growth. Jason Garrett literally looked like a different coordinator last week. I don't know what happened. I don't know what he did differently, but he looked like a different coordinator. His play calling was a lot better. And what was the main difference in against the Saints than it was the rest of the year? The offensive line played really, really well. Every single deep ball that Daniel Jones had, he had a good 3-yard, 4-yard cushion in the pocket. He was allowed. He was given the opportunity to let his routes develop, right? That was the big difference, in my opinion, for Daniel Jones. When he has a clean pocket, we know DJ is a very good passer. He's one of the best deep ball passers in the league. You can find his receivers. He allows them to actually develop their routes, so you're not just trying to get those quick outs out, those curl routes out. He actually was allowed to, let Kenny Golladay cross over the entire field, let John Ross get all the way downfield, and get some of these guys open. That Saquon Barkley 40-yard touchdown on the passing play. All these different things they did really plays back into the offensive line playing well, having that bookend left tackle and Andrew Thomas, who deleted Cam Jordan, who really looked like a staple on that left side. That was the most essential part of the game for me. When you look at that, when you watch the film, it's the offensive line that really gave Daniel Jones all that time. And when you have time, it allows you to open up the playbook. I think maybe Jason Garrett had these plays up and dialed. He just couldn't really unload them because the offensive line's been collapsing so fast. They couldn't wait for these routes to develop. Also, John Ross brings another element, right? And I don't want to say bench Darius Slayton. I will say take some snaps away from him, and they're going to have to. But John Ross does something really unique, right? He forces defenses to play a lot of quarters. He forces them to play a lot of off-ball coverage because he's so fast. Now, what does that do when you have a guy who forces guys to play deep coverage, forces two safeties back, forces quarters coverage? It opens up the underneath portion of the field, right? So if you have John Ross and you just run him deep and you're just running him, forcing those defensive backs to get out of there, to clear out, now that's where you have guys like Kadarius Toney to attack the smaller portions of the field, and where he has more field to operate with. He can make guys miss. We saw last week, Kadarius Toney's a weapon. He's a problem. Teams don't know how to defend him just yet. They don't have a lot of film on him. The Giants are really just starting to get him involved and deploy him in unique ways. They got to keep doing that. If they want to keep Dallas honest, they want to keep their defense on their toes, they need to get the ball to Kadarius Toney frequently, because he's a guy who's going to pick up those first downs. He's the guy who people don't really know where he's going yet. Where is he lining up? How are they getting to use him? If Sterling Shepard's back, now you have Kenny Golladay, Sterling Shepard, John Ross, Slayton, and you got Kadarius Toney. Too many guys to there's a lot of mouths to feed, but there's too many guys to keep track of. The Dallas's defense isn't that good. They're okay. Their pass rush has been struggling to a degree. They've actually had a good number of sacks, but at the end of the day, like, they don't have DeMarcus Lawrence. If the Giants' offensive line plays well, they should be able to put up a good game, especially on offense here. It comes down to getting the ball in the hands of your best playmakers, right? Kadarius Toney is going to have mismatches all game long. Nobody on that team, Leighton Vander Esch, is not going up against him. They're going to have to use safeties. They're going to have to use their slot corners, but then you have Sterling Shepard in the slot. How do you guard him now? It's a big problem, right? Anthony, when you're looking at this offense, how do you think you beat them in the passing game? Because it's probably going to be punch for punch, blow for blow, because this offense on the other side of the field is really good. They put up 36 points. I think over the last 2 weeks, an average of 36 points. They put up 96 points over the last 3 games. They're on a 3-game winning streak. Can't really stop them, but you can go blow for blow. You're going to have to fight fire with fire here, Anthony. How do you do that if you're the Giants?
Yeah, I think you just try and get the most out of your playmakers. Guys like Saquon Barkley, Kadarius Toney, you give them the ball and you try and let them make some plays, right? We saw it last week. Jason Garrett knows how to do it. We didn't think he did, but apparently he does know how to do it. He just hasn't been doing it very well for the first 3 weeks of the season. But week 4, he got Kadarius Toney the ball in space. He liked to use him on a lot of slant routes, whip routes, and screens, like we've been banging the table and screaming about for a very long time. Alex and I have. We've been saying, let Kadarius Toney run a whip route. Throw him some screen passes. Let him run some slants. They finally did that on Sunday, and Kadarius Toney had a breakout performance. Kenny Golladay also had a great performance. I really think you just have to rely on your stars. Kenny Golladay, Kadarius Toney, Saquon Barkley. Those are your stars on offense, and obviously Daniel Jones facilitating the ball. Rely on them. Set up plays specifically designed for them to be successful. Have Saquon Barkley go out wide some more. Have him get more involved with the receiving game. Keep running the offense through Saquon, but then also opening up the passing game with some creative concepts to hit Kadarius Toney and Kenny Golladay downfield. It was a very good game plan on Sunday, and if the Giants can do that and replicate it and build on it, add some pieces and layers to that, and of course have John Ross out there as your speed guy, pushing the defense vertical, opening things up underneath for guys like Kadarius Toney, the Giants have a lot of talent on offense. They can definitely win any game as long as their offense clicks, they call the right plays, and they design the right plays and put the scheme together for these players to be successful. This is a very talented offense, a lot of great players out there. So it's really just up to Jason Garrett to utilize them properly and put them in position to succeed and make some big-time plays.
Yeah, and you know what? I think this game, the Giants have to maintain momentum. This game, when it comes to Dallas, they're a momentum-based team, right? If they get going, they are hard to stop. They scored 5 touchdowns last week. 5. They punted 4 times. They had a lot. They actually lost the time of possession battle, but still ended up destroying Carolina. Like, they are a very, very good offensive team. They have so many weapons. Tony Pollard's killing it as a backup running back. Ezekiel Elliott's still really good. You got Amari Cooper, who actually has a hamstring injury, so we'll keep an eye on that as the week progresses. You got Michael Gallup, of course, CeeDee Lamb, who's an animal, a great offensive line. Zach Martin, one of the best, if not the best in the league. This is a tough team. Dak Prescott's no joke either. He's a top 10 quarterback, top 15 at the very least. I'd probably put him in the top 10. This offense, man, especially under Kellen Moore, who knows how to operate, it's tough. They get CeeDee Lamb on crossers. They have the offensive line to let these routes develop. Coverage can only stand so long. The key here is going to be, how does the defense stand up against this offensive line? The Patrick Graham, if you ever had a chance, if there's any game to curate some creative blitz packages, this is the game. They need to get very creative. They need to do some really unique things to put Dak Prescott in a whirlwind, because if they don't get pressure, and the Giants have been really, really bad in creating pressure the past couple of weeks. That has been one of their biggest flaws. They have not had many sacks. They had no sacks last week. They really need to find somebody, and somebody's got to step up here and really go after this offensive line. I know that right tackle Steele has been taking huge steps forward for Dallas. How do you curate a pass rush when your guys really aren't doing that well, Anthony? That's the question. Is going to be Azeez Ojulari? Probably not. Lorenzo Carter? Probably not. Like, these guys are, they're just not good enough. They're just not good enough to take on some of the best offensive tackles in the league. It's going to have to come from Leonard Williams. It's going to have to come from Dexter Lawrence. It's going to have to come from those safety blitzes off the edge. Jabril Peppers, if he can play, the hamstring injuries. They're going to have to use a lot of stunts, confuse that offensive line. They cannot, if they give Dak Prescott all that time in the pocket, the Giants will lose this game. You just can't. The Giants offense cannot go punch for punch for Dallas's offense. They can't. It's just not going to happen. And Dallas has created 6 turnovers the last 3 games. So every game they've forced 2 turnovers apiece. The Giants, luckily, have been very, very good in that category, aside from the Hail Mary interception last week and then the Evan Ingram fumble. Daniel Jones has been really good protecting the football, and that's a really optimistic sign that he's taking a big step forward in his development. But again, the Giants offense had one good game last week. We cannot say that they're going to match Dallas's offense, Anthony. So in my opinion, what they have to do, incorporate the big shots in your strategy, right? They have to be taking big shots downfield. You cannot shy away from that. But Saquon Barkley is going to have the best game of his season today, on Sunday against Dallas. It is up to him. If Saquon Barkley can run the ball well and they can milk the clock, maintain possession, keep that Dallas offense off the field as much as possible, they can have a shot at winning this game. But they cannot let that unit get on the field. They need to have a couple of 8 to 10 minute drives. And I know that's a long, long time for the Giants to have a drive, but they're going to have to grind out those first downs, run the football, milk the clock, and then put them in bad field position. Because ultimately, if Dallas turns the ball over, if they get in good field position, they're going to score. They don't kick many field goals. They score a lot. So, Anthony, when you're looking at this, how important is Saquon Barkley to this game? Because in my opinion, he's got to have the best game of the year tomorrow, this weekend. Because ultimately, if he doesn't help that running game, if that run blocking unit and the offensive line has been pretty poor run blocking, if they don't step up, it's going to be a long day for the Giants.
Yeah, I think that he probably will have his best game of the season, because if you watch Saquon Barkley, you really look at what he's done this year, he's gotten better every single game. Week 1 was okay. Week 2 was better. Week 3 was far better. And Week 4 was far better than Week 3. So I'm assuming Week 5 is going to be even better as well. He's just been slowly getting back to 100%. And he seems pretty damn close to 100% now. He had 90 receiving yards and 50 rushing yards in Week 4, had a big touchdown reception, had the game-winning walk-off rushing touchdown. He's been a real playmaker the past couple of weeks, and in Week 4, you really started to see how good Saquon Barkley truly is when he's fully healthy. But now it's just a matter of continuing to work the game plan, continuing to get him involved, and continuing to let him play, right? He wasn't really so ready to play in Week 1. Week 4, he looks very ready. And Week 5, going into Week 5, it's going to be running the offense through Saquon Barkley, making him the focal point, getting him healthy. He's pretty much there. I really think he's probably at like 90% health now. If this was a video game, you were talking about a health meter, I think he's like 90% health. So I think he's almost there, ready to break out, have like a very good season from here on out. He looked phenomenal on Sunday. So I think against the Dallas Cowboys, yes, run the offense through Saquon. Let him get busy in the running game, get him really involved in the passing game. We saw on Sunday, again, that deep bomb that he took down the left sideline. He's a good route runner. He's a good receiver, has good ball skills. He's a weapon in the receiving game. So the Giants have to make sure that they get him more involved. And not only the downfield receiving game, of course, the screens as well. He had a couple of really nice gains on screen passes against the Saints as well. So Saquon Barkley is going to be the focal point of the Giants offense on Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys. And honestly, if you watch what the Cowboys did this past weekend, it might be a Saquon versus Ezekiel Elliott game. It really might come down to that. Who has the better running back in that matchup? Who runs the football better? Which offense does a better job of running through their star running back? Because both of those offenses kind of run through their star running back. So Saquon Barkley, I think we all agree, he's the better running back. Let's see him have a better game and propel the Giants to victory.
Yeah, and it's going to come down to the offensive line, though, getting those double team blocks. Andrew Thomas even said one of his weaknesses this year so far is getting to the second level, using that speed. That's a big problem the Giants have had, but mainly because he's had 4 new left guards, right? How can you possibly have any chemistry in getting to the second level using those combo blocks when you don't even know who your left guard is going to be on a week by week basis? So now you have Matt Skura, who actually looked pretty good last week, aside from a couple plays here and there and a penalty. I think he plays again at left guard. The Giants are going to need him to step up again. And hopefully some continuity there with Andrew Thomas where they can really build off each other's, performances and hopefully those combo blocks can get a little bit better and they can run strong side a little bit more. But with this offense, ultimately, Daniel Jones needs to maintain the way he's been playing. And him playing away this week is a huge positive. And I'll read you the stats for his career home and away, right? So during home games, Daniel Jones has played 15 games, 62% completion rate, 3,340 yards, and 14 touchdowns and 16 interceptions. Playing away, he's played in 16 games, 63.5% completion rate, 3,814 yards, 25 touchdowns compared to 14 at home, and 7 interceptions compared to 16 away. That is massive differences in statistics, right? I don't really understand why. Maybe it's a MetLife problem. Maybe he's a little bit more under pressure with a lot of fans. Who knows? Maybe he's in his own head. But he plays really well away. And I think this is the perfect opportunity coming off a big game with 402 passing yards against the Saints, where Daniel Jones can say, you know what? This is my opportunity to really establish myself as a high-end quarterback in this league. He's not there yet. He's not really even close, but at least put him in the right trajectory, just heading upward toward it. And I think that this season, we've seen his pocket awareness looking a lot better because he feels comfortable, right? I think Daniel Jones, one of the things he hasn't felt since his rookie season, or really since he's entered the league, is comfort in the pocket. Having the wherewithal to know that your left tackle, Andrew Thomas, is holding down your blind side, it makes maneuvering a lot easier, right? Because he feels good shifting over to his side. He feels good shifting, and he can see the vision side in front of him, right? He can see what Nate Solder's letting past him, and that's kind of what's been able to help him. He can't see what's behind him. So knowing that Andrew Thomas is doing a good job over there has really helped him take a step forward because he feels good that Andrew Thomas has got his back, but he can also look ahead and see what's coming from Nate Solder, and he can step up in the pocket. He can maneuver appropriately, which is giving him more time in the pocket and letting those receivers really finish their routes. So I think that's a really big point of emphasis for Daniel Jones's progression as the offensive line. And shout out to Rob Sale for putting that line together and really taking a big step forward, because I think without that hiring, that's Joe Judge's best move this year by far, was hiring Rob Sale. Now the run blocking still a little bit on edge, but the pass protection has been far and away better. They've ranked in the top half of the league so far, which is really good to hear. And I think that the Giants are taking steps forward there. But when you're looking at running the football, I'm looking at rushing yards per game, and the Dallas Cowboys only allow 81 yards per game on the ground. Why? Because teams are trying to play catch up the whole time, right? Teams are always trying to say, we're playing catch up because we get down 2-3 scores at a clip, and then we're like, shit, like we got to catch up. So they're only passing the ball. Nobody's running the ball on Dallas, and that's why those totals are so low. The Giants, if I'm the Giants going to Dallas and I have the opportunity to either defer or accept that football, I'm taking that football right away, and I'm scripting a game plan to attack that defense and score first. Because if you can score first and you stop Dallas once, then you can control the clock, set in, and play your game and use Saquon Barkley and really open up some nice running lanes for him. But the Giants have to score first in this game. If they don't score first, coming back is going to be incredibly difficult, Anthony. How important do you think it is that the Giants get that ball first and really set the tone for the game?
Yeah, I think that it would be really beneficial for them to get the ball first and go out there and try and put some points up because A, Jason Garrett's a pretty good scripting offensive coordinator, and then B, I think just getting on the scoreboard first is huge against a really good offense, because I've been saying this since Sunday, since our post-game live stream. I said the Giants are going to win on Sunday with a good offense. They're going to beat a good offense with a good offense. You're not going to play good defense and shut down the Dallas Cowboys offensive attack and win the game that way. That's just simply not going to happen. They're too good offensively. You're going to beat them by being even better than them on offense with your team. So that's the key for the Giants, and I do think that getting the ball first is kind of a good way to, kind of set the tone, right? Punch them in the mouth at the beginning, to kind of quote Joe Judge, punch them in the mouth for 60 minutes. That's what he wants to do. you're not going to punch them for 60 minutes unless you get that ball first and you go down and you put together a scoring drive to start the game to kick things off. I think that would be super beneficial for the Giants. Not saying that it's a complete necessity, like if the Giants don't get the ball first, they're going to lose or whatever. I mean, but then you're just asking your defense to start off the game in good fashion. And against this offense of the Dallas Cowboys, that's kind of tough to kind of just put them out there and have them go do their thing. I'd rather the offense go out there and do their thing to start the game and really set the tone for the team and build some momentum for the defense as they go on the field after the offense gets some points. So especially, again, like I said, Jason Garrett, very good at scripting together drives to start games. At least he has been in the past. I know everybody likes to criticize his play calling, myself included. But if you do look at the metrics and statistics, his opening drives of each half have been far better than everything that's gone off script. There's actual statistics that I could provide that back that up. So his scripted plays, if we can script together a really good drive to kick off the game, that'd be almost guarantee themselves points and get a nice kickoff to the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, ultimately, they need Jason Garrett to scheme together a really, really nice, script to this game to open it. And I think getting the ball first, don't defer it. Don't defer it. You don't want to give Dallas an opportunity to score first and set the tone of this game and get their fans involved. You want to go out there, punch them in the mouth right off the bat, and silence the crowd. That's what you want to do. You want to set the tone and say, we're not coming here to lay down and give you guys a win. We're coming here to kick some freaking ass. And I know, Jabril Pepper said after the game against the Saints, he's like, it's going to be impossible to keep me off that field. He left the game with a hamstring injury. He's like, it's going to be impossible to keep me off the field against Dallas. Shepard, I know for a fact he's going to want to play. Slayton, I'm sure he's going to want to play too. These guys, they want to get involved. They want to win a football game. They're inspired now. Saquon Barkley's speech, he got me hyped up. And I was like, this team, they really want to win. They knew it was coming. It was just a matter of when and putting it all together and executing. They did that against the Saints. Dallas is another beast, though, right? Saints are a good team. They have a good defense, a pretty solid offense. But Dallas has arguably the best offense in the league, right? Arguably the best offense in the league. And I would say stopping them is going to be borderline impossible. Going punch for them is going to be borderline impossible. Currently, they have the fourth best offense in terms of points per game at 31.5. The Giants are all the way down at 20.8. So it's a 10-point differential. Definitely not ideal for the Giants, but I'll say this. We saw a team last week that was not the same as it was the first three because of the offensive line. If they put that together, this is a team that can win games. It is a team that can put better offensive performances on the field, Anthony. But I want to talk about the defense for 1 second. What do you think is the most important thing about this defense going into week 4 against Dallas? Who really needs to step up this week? And I think it really isn't just a singular person. I think it's 2 units in specific. I think it's the defensive front, and I think it's the secondary, as a whole, both of them, because Dallas has a great running game, so you need those interior defensive guys to really hold it down, clog those running lanes. Zach Martin is so good at holding those gaps open. They really need their big money guys like Leonard Williams to go in there and close those gaps quickly. They need Dexter Lawrence, use that strength and close those gaps quickly. Whether it's Austin Johnson at nose tackle, or Danny Shelton, they need those guys to really just hold down the A and B gaps. They need to seal the edge. They love to use those sweeps and outside zones with Ezekiel Elliott, get him into space. Azeez Ojulari being a rookie, they're going to have him on that right tackle spot. He's going to have to beat, I think it's Brandon Steele, who's had a really good year so far. He's going to have to try and win. Lorenzo Carter, at left tackle. What's his name? Who's the left tackle for Dallas? I keep saying
Tyron Smith. Is
Smith.
Tyron Smith healthy? When he's healthy, yeah, he's the one out there.
Yeah, he's a monster.
He's been pretty often injured, so.
Right, but at the end of the day, I think he actually mostly injured his neck last year, but he had surgery and it's 100% healthy now, and he's feeling great and he's playing well. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's playing and starting. So Lorenzo Carter up against Smith, that's really, really hard, man. That's a really hard matchup. So the Giants, it's going to be tough to clog those running lanes. They're going to need the linebackers to step up big time, Reggie Ragland and Tay Crowder. But the secondary too, right? CeeDee Lamb in the slot. Who plays that slot? Is it Rodarius Williams? I would probably say it's going to be Adoree Jackson following CeeDee Lamb all day long. James Bradberry and Amari Cooper all day long. And you're going to see probably Rodarius Williams on the outside up against Michael Gallup a lot. So, with a team with just so much depth at receiver, you're going to need all those cornerbacks healthy and playing at a high level. Adoree Jackson got knocked out of the game for a couple plays last week, but he came on and he came back and he was fine. Anthony, when you're looking at this defense, who needs to step up? Is there any individual players you're like, this guy needs to play better? Or is it just kind of a unit as a whole, which that's kind of how I'm feeling?
Well, I want to say that I think it's units as a whole. Obviously, I think the secondary needs to step up, the defensive line, everybody. But if there is one specific player that I want to pinpoint, it's Leonard Williams. I think that he's been quietly having a good season. I know everyone's like, "Oh, where is this $26 million man? He's missing. Can you find him?" Not really. I don't see it that way. Yet last week against the Saints, I thought that he was in the backfield quite a bit. I thought he was getting a lot of pressures, had a few tackles for loss. And I think that if he can put together 1 or 2 sacks against the Cowboys, if he gets even 1 sack, as long as he continues to get 4 pressures a game, I'm happy because that's not easy to do. And he's been getting like 4 to 5 pressures per game, which is really impressive. He's been in the backfield generating pressures and forcing the quarterback to get the ball out of his hands. So I think that Leonard Williams has been playing pretty good. And I think that if he continues to play this way, or if he even improves his game and does get a sack against the Cowboys, I think we're going to be in pretty good shape. So if there is one player that I'm keeping an eye on, it is Leonard Williams. Of course, he is our most expensive player. He's a player that's getting paid the most on the New York Giants, but he's also one of our best players. And some fans don't feel like he's showing up. I think that he's showing up more than most people are giving him credit for, but there is room for improvement. So time to find that room for improvement against the Dallas Cowboys divisional matchup on Sunday. If he can continue to play well and then build on that against the Cowboys, I think we're in pretty good shape because, like I said, he's been playing good, but there is room for improvement. And in terms of the secondary, I think that James Bradberry, he actually did have a phenomenal performance on Sunday against the Saints. If you go look at his stats, his coverage stats via PFF, he had a very high coverage grade. He did have that interception. He was all over the receivers. He had that one play that he let up, and then everyone was like, oh, they're complaining about James Bradberry, but that was just that one play for the most part. He played a very good, clean football game. So it looks like the secondary is starting to put things together, piece it together, and play a little bit better. Hopefully Peppers is healthy enough to go. I think that he's an important part of our defense, but I think the secondary is building on something, and if they can have a good performance against a very difficult matchup, I mean, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CD Lamb, this is a tough matchup for the secondary, but if they seem to be clicking now, so hopefully they can click at the right time, get into performance mode on Sunday, and hopefully try and slow down. You can't stop them, but you can slow them down. Slow down Amari Cooper, CD Lamb, and the rest of them. So the 2 players and positions that I'm looking at the secondary, click, have a good performance, and Leonard Williams show up and prove that you are worth that money that we're paying you.
Yeah, I agree, and I think they're probably going to just have James Bradberry follow around Amari Cooper and Adoree Jackson on CeeDee Lamb. Adoree Jackson's been pretty solid in coverage. I know people will point to that Falcons drop, and I absolutely am not absolving that of him by any means. But what I will say is he's actually been solid in coverage for the most part. So I think they'll probably ask him to maybe follow CeeDee Lamb, or I don't know if they're going to play zone. We'll find out. This is a team that will beat you. They'll find pockets in zone coverage. They will beat you in man coverage. So really tough to figure out how to stop them. But end of the day, the defense needs to play better. They're pretty much kind of ranking average in most categories right now. They need to play like a top 10 unit if they want to beat a Dallas team. Then offense needs to come out firing. If you get the chance to get the ball first, Jason Garrett's got to have a good script and get that ball down there and put some points on the board ASAP. Quiet the crowd, take them out of the football game, and try and shift that momentum early. But end of the day, guys, this is probably going to be one of our toughest games of the year. Right now, coming off a win up against a team that's won 3 straight games, put up a ton of points the last 3 games. They're hard to beat. They're a really hard team to beat. And Trayvon Diggs at cornerback there has had a couple interceptions. He's doing a really good job breaking on routes and picking up those INTs. And, against Sam Darnold, who's been playing phenomenal football as well. It's just hard to tell what this defense is going to be capable of doing. Of course, we'll see Micah Parsons kind of playing that defensive edge role the last couple games after DeMarcus Lawrence went down. So Randy Gregory, I think, had like 2 sacks or 3 sacks last week too. So he's been playing out of his mind as well. But guys, let us know what you think of this Dallas matchup on YouTube in the comment section if you're interested. What do you think we got to do to beat this team? We've given a pretty solid breakdown here of what we think they offer. Maybe we'll do a little film review later this week and see what they did against Carolina, some of their concepts and stuff that they like to put on the field, and how the Giants could maybe attack that. We'll see what kind of plays that Carolina ran, and maybe beat them over top or beat them in some good concepts there, and see what Jason Garrett might be trying to unroll. But again, get Kadarius Toney more involved. They got to win the turnover battle, and they got to win possession as well. If you win the turnover battle and win possession, your chances of winning go sky high. So that's really what it comes down to for the Giants, playing clean football, executing at a high level, and trying to walk away from Dallas with a win and getting back into this Eastern Conference, or rather NL East kind of showdown kind of going on here. The Giants are in last place right now, but they're not completely out of it. If they beat Dallas, that's a big step in the right direction. So hopefully they can do that, my friends. Make sure to subscribe below on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube as always, and we'll catch you guys on the next New York Giants video.